Everyone. And thank you for coming out in this beautiful weather to the regular business meeting of the Buffalo Board of Education on this Wednesday, October 19th. If I could have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, that'd be wonderful. And tonight, I would like to welcome South Buffalo's own Grace Sullivan, who is a 7th grader at Performing Arts, to come forward and to perform our national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you very much for that powerful rendition. At this point, we're going to go to the board recognition portion of the evening, and then we will be swearing in our new student members. So, Dr. Williams, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Board President Petrucci. I want to start by just thanking that young lady again. I had to turn to the left and say, she's 7th grade? If the Bills go to the Super Bowl, you know, she might have a gig there singing the national anthem. That's right. Go Bills. All right, so October is really a great time for us to celebrate the hard work of our school board members as a way to inform the public about the very important role that each of our board members play in helping us to move our school district forward. Although it is important to show appreciation year-round, it is necessary sometimes to pause and to take advantage of this designated School Board Recognition Month to help raise community awareness and understanding for the crucial role that each of our school board members has within their various districts, as well as to ensure that each of these hardworking, important people receive some of the thanks that they deserve. So I would like to take a moment and just share that we really do appreciate, we see all that you do. We gave our board members just a couple of small tokens this evening. If you wouldn't mind, Board President, holding up your Buffalo paperweight. It has the name and the districts that they represent. And you'll notice that they all have flowers because we believe in giving flowers to people while they're here to appreciate them. And then we have a small surprise for you. Admir?
Thank you. A polite expression of one's gratitude. And within the Buffalo Public Schools, well-deserved thank yous are abundant. We rightfully thank our teachers, our administrators, our critical school staff, and yes, we even extend thank yous to our students for their hard work. But when have we ever thanked our dedicated and tireless Board of Education members? How about right now?
To the esteemed members of the Buffalo Board of Education, thank you for your advocacy, support, and fight to get what we need to be successful. We appreciate your visits and welcome you to see firsthand what your advocacy looks like. Thank you again for all of your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Nana. I bet you're surprised to see us. We just wanted to take some time out of our school day to say thank you. We see how hard you work every day, and we would like to say thank you from both of us. Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of Frederick Law Olmsted 156 over at Kensington, we would love to say our gratitude to all of our board members for the hard work that you put in for our students and for our families. We know that your job is not an easy one, but we appreciate all of the work that you do to make sure that Buffalo is one of the best district in New York State. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Dad, I know how much you care about Buffalo schools, and I know how much time you put into the Buffalo Public Schools, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Waterfront Elementary School, I want to say that I appreciate each and every board member. I thank you for your service and your continuous community service towards our district. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, it's me, Alex, your son. I just want to say I've always seen how hard you've been working, how amazing I've seen you. You have done such a good job for me, and I love you so much. I just want to thank you for all you do for the Buffalo schools, and let's go Buffalo.
Greetings. October is a month of Board of Education appreciation. I hope that you will all join me in giving thanks to 9 people who have led and supported our school district on many, many difficult issues. I am certain that being a school board member entails more than any of these individuals bargained for when they initially got the idea to run for board seat. But what they have given us through the years is strong leadership through challenges and celebrations. And on behalf of the Buffalo Public Schools, I want to thank each and every board member for their leadership and their commitment to our students, our families, and our community. Thank you for all that you do to service the Buffalo Public Schools to make it a better place each day for all of our children and families. Go BPS, go BPS, and go Bills.
That was very, very nice. You were getting a little misty there, Jen. That was a very touching, very nice tribute. Thank you all. So at this point, I'd like to call up our new board members. I'm going to come down and meet you at the mic, and we will have our swearing in for our student member and our alternative to the Buffalo Board of Education. Thank you very much. We're going to start with Lucy. So repeat after me, please. You can put your hand on the Bible. I, Lucy Fuentes, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Student Representative of the Buffalo Board of Education of the City of Buffalo, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations, you're a member of the Buffalo Board of Education. So next up, trying to get it so they can both hear us. Next up, we have Mr. Hilmy. Please repeat after me. I, Graydon Hilmy, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Student Representative of the Board of Education of the City of Buffalo, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Okay, welcome aboard. Congratulations. All right, thank you very much, and welcome aboard. Dr. Williams, do you have any other board recognition for this evening? Okay, which brings us to the superintendent's update.
Thank you so much again. I think what you have seen thus far is just how much we are focusing on the 5 goals that we stated in our strategic plan that we would be focusing on. The first is decreasing opportunity gaps. The second is requiring educational excellence. The third is ensuring safety, security, and wellness. The fourth is about amplifying particularly student and family voices and cultivating trust with our community. And the fifth is activating new partnerships. And so in continuing with some recognitions, what,
Paula and Sharon? I'm sorry, Dr. Williams. Paula and Sharon? So in order for you to be, in order for we to hear you, we have to take you off of mute. But by taking you off of mute, when you speak, we can hear everything you say on the other side of the line.
okay. Okay.
Okay, well, we're not trying to speak at this moment.
Okay. Just so you're aware.
Okay, and so in continuing with recognizing the importance of many, most of you know that we have just concluded the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month on October 15th. And what a month it was. There were many celebrations in our city and district on histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. I would like to ask Dr. Fatima Morel, our Associate Superintendent, of the Cultural and Linguistically Responsive Initiatives Division to please come forward for presentations which honor Hispanic Heritage Month and to then share a much valued reading to acknowledge and honor Italian American Heritage and Culture Month, which is also taking place during this month of October.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, for this opportunity. Greetings, esteemed board. It was truly a tremendous honor to receive over 100 entries for the Latinx Heritage Month contest, where we challenged our students in grades 9 through 12 to write of the Christopher Columbus experience and conquering of America through the eyes of the Taino, the indigenous Tainos who were already here, so it was not discovered, it was conquered. And the students came forward with such powerful pieces. It was such a hard job with so many entries, but we are gonna publish all of those entries on our website because they were just so beautiful, but we had to make a hard decision. And I want to thank the Hispanic Heritage Council under the leadership of course, President Sierra Esmeralda Sierra, but Casimiro Rodriguez, the founder of the Hispanic Heritage Council, who advocated strongly to ensure that each of our students receive a trophy and a monetary award. So he is here this evening, and I certainly appreciate him helping me to honor our scholars who did so well. I'm so proud of them. So we're gonna start from our third place winner with her trophy and receiving $50 for her artistic rendition. She's a 9th grader at Buffalo Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts, Naomi Gonzalez. Let's welcome her. She painted a beautiful painting of the Tainos watching the Christopher Columbus and other colonizers come to the shores, and just the fright in their eyes, and the whole painting just told a true picture of what happened from the eyes of the Tainos. And so we're very proud of you, Naomi. Thank you for entering, and good job, and we love you. Thanks, all of you. Bye. Again, all of the student entries were winners. This one also stuck out tremendously, and winning second place and to receive $75 is Nayalis Ortega Ortiz for her poem in her native language. She is a senior at Lafayette International High School, and in her poem, she wrote, La tierra que nos quitaron, Borican, la tierra del coqui, la tierra donde yo nací, una isla bella, and so on. She talked about the beauty of her island, of her native land that was taken away from her by the conquerors, the indigenous, the Tainos, and it was beautifully written, the entire thing in Spanish. Awesome work. Nayalis, please come up. Muchas gracias. Felicitaciones. Te amo, te amo. We love you. Good job. Keep up the good job, okay? Keep doing that. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. And then finally, her first few lines, I had to put my coffee down. It just mesmerized me that a ninth grader could think in this way and write these words when she said, "You celebrate him, we loathe him." Why, you may ask? It's because of the dark sides of our shared history that they are fearful of teaching you in school. The type of history that turns your previously proclaimed hero into a villain. What powerful words. And that's just the beginning. And it goes on and on from the eyes of the Tainos. And I want to say that our first place winner receiving $100 in a ninth grader at City Honor School is Chloe Mertz. Good job, Chloe. Beautiful. Keep that social justice activism up, okay? Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Keep that up. And thank you to the parents for all their work and pushing our scholars. Thank you. Mr. Casimero, and the superintendent and I would also like to present you with a small token of our appreciation, the Board of Education's appreciation for all you do to support the Buffalo Public Schools. Senora Rodriguez, for your consistent advocacy of the Buffalo Hispanic community and the Hispanic students of the Buffalo Public Schools. We salute you and say thank you. We love you. Thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you very much. This is very humbling, and I appreciate this gift. But most important are these children that did these essays. You know, I was just talking to Chloe on her experience to come up with that essay and the research that she did just getting her ready for college. You know, we're so proud of what our community awaits, these great leaders, and all three students. So God bless you, and thank you. Thank you very much, school board members, for all you do. And superintendent, your administration, thank you very much for all your administration does. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Microphone's being a little funky tonight.
Okay, I'm gonna move, finally. We did move into Italian American Heritage Month as well. These two vast histories and cultures run into each other each year, and both have such valuable contributions to American history. That is, we would be remiss if we did not recognize that in the month of October, we also celebrate the heritage, history, and legacy of Italian Americans in the United States. Italian American Heritage Month was first celebrated by President George Bush in 1989. Between 1820 and 2000, over 5 million Italians immigrated to the United States in pursuit of a better life, fleeing such obstacles as poverty, national disaster, and political instability. According to the U.S. Census, Italian is the 5th most reported ancestry in the United States today. We honor and recognize the perseverance, achievements, and contributions of Italians and Italian Americans in our country. As educators, we pay special tribute to Maria Montessori, an Italian physician, educator, and innovator who is best known for pioneering an educational pedagogy that builds upon the way children learn naturally, which we now call the Montessori method. She opened the first Montessori school, Casa di Bambini, in Rome on January 6, 1907. Today, there are thousands of Montessori schools around the world, and we celebrate one right here in our own district, Bennett Park Montessori School number 32. We also honor the greatness of our own Buffalo history with local lawyer and politician Frank A. Sedita, a first-generation Italian-American for whom School 30 is named. Frank A. Sedita served several terms as Buffalo's mayor in the 1950s and 60s. He is well known for his fair leadership practices and public policies and as a courageous advocate for the oppressed and supporting the dismantling of racial inequalities. In the Buffalo Public Schools, we believe that it is critical to celebrate the stories, histories, and contributions of the unique cultural identities that are interwoven in our collective society. Today, we highlight the value brought to us from our fellow Italian Americans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morrell. I think, what you have seen this evening thus far is an example of what our children can accomplish. We just heard about 3 young people who took the time to do some very excellent work for this contest and got a nice small reward. We also have 2 young leaders sitting amongst us as youth board members, and then we heard that fabulous national anthem rendition. Just 2 more pieces. The first, I'm going to ask our Chief Legal Counsel, Nate Kuzma, to come forward and just to share an update. I know that there are many that are interested in hearing an update on the bell times. He will be followed by Chief Ramona Reynolds, who will share an update on the reimbursement with parents and where we are thus far. And the final piece, I would like to give a little time in my report. We have a new medical director who has joined us. He is from Buffalo, Dr. Fred Archer, and he's just going to come up and speak a little bit about COVID numbers and the Omicron booster, flu season, and immunization numbers. And that will conclude my report.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent Williams and Board of Education, our members of the community. We, last week, I think, with the BTF's permission, after we had a conversation with them the week prior, distributed our proposal for the shifting of bell times, of course, going from a 2-tier bell time system to a 3-tier bell time system, which could save, would likely save us between 50 and 100 buses, depending on the number, or the need for 50 to 100 drivers, depending on the number of schools that would change their bell time. We are, I think the Federation is in the process of gathering feedback from its membership. We're in the process of gathering feedback from our constituents, which is our parents and families. I think we'll hear from some of you this evening. And we will be intentional about moving the conversation forward in the coming weeks. Of course, we are at the table, in negotiations. This is a priority in negotiations. We hope we can get the MOU over the finish line prior to that. Oh, poor Dow. She's okay. Am I hurting your ears? Yeah. In any event, we're hoping to get that over the finish line in the coming weeks. So there'll be more to come on that, but that's where it is now. We're in the information, or the information's been distributed, and the district and the Federation are in the process of gathering feedback from its respective constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, families and community. I believe during last week's board work session, Chief Hills provided an overview regarding where we are to date regarding the parent transportation reimbursement proposal. As of last week, Wednesday, and I'll just say as of this past Friday, because open enrollment for the English-speaking families closed on Friday. As of that date, 2,380 families responded and completed the enrollment form. At the request of board members Sharon Belton-Cotman and board member Woods, we open and we will be opening the enrollment for our L families, because what we had not done was to sufficiently conduct outreach with our L families. And so we have translated the guidelines. Our multilingual education department is finalizing the translations of the open enrollment forms, which we anticipate we'll have tomorrow so that we can get those posted. We will do outreach. We will email in their languages the guidelines, the forms. We'll post to social media. We'll get it out to the leaders of the community. We'll allow them ample time to consider whether they want to enroll in the program. The next step is once we have, in fact, tomorrow we will be forwarding to the Office of School Leadership the data that we have garnered thus far. Because what we need to do is to ensure that the data is clean. We need to ensure that everyone who has completed the enrollment form is eligible. We would imagine that there are some duplicates. So they're going to work on cleaning up what we have thus far. Once the enrollment closes for our L families, they'll clean that data up as well. We'll take the data, we'll provide it to the transportation department so that it may be analyzed. We'll allow the transportation department an opportunity to tell us what the data says, and then we will determine next steps from there. So we are almost at the final stages of gathering all data, and then again, next step will be the analysis, and then we'll be able to make our final determination. And that's the update. Questions?
Any questions?
I do, Dr. Reynolds. Just for the sake of those in the listening audience who may not know, could you tell us about approximately what percentage our L population is among the district as a whole?
That's a great question, and I'm going to turn my head over to our Chief of Accountability. Thank you so much. English language learners, our non-English speaking families.
Good evening. Although I'm going to give you a soft number because we have not finalized enrollment. Our enrollment won't be finalized until January. For New York State, traditionally we run in a realm in the area of the mid 20%, 25, 26%. Soft number, but I can give you a better, Dr. Williams, I can send you a better, softer, not verified by the state number tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Mr. Scott, you have a question.
Thank you, President Petrucci. So just repeating my questions from the last time we discussed this matter in our work session, as a part of the analysis that's done, if we can have the zip code, schools of the respondents, and whether they are currently driving their children to school or they're taking bus transportation currently.
We will provide that data for you.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds.
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. If Dr. Archer is in the audience, please come forward. We are very excited. I think we all got very comfortable. We knew Dr. Quo last year. He really led us a lot through the COVID pandemic, and he has moved on to a position in Rochester, and replacing him is Dr. Archer, and he is a Buffalo guy, and so we're very excited to welcome Dr. Archer to the medical team. He's going to share some information with us.
No pressure whatsoever, no pressure. So first off, to the board, thank you for inviting me this evening. To the family members that are here, thank you all very much for coming. As I'll take a point of privilege here. As a pediatrician, this makes me happy. Just seeing not just families, but also kids and the celebration of kids, especially our kids here in Buffalo, the diversity of kids we've got in Buffalo. So just as a pediatrician, this type of interaction makes me happy. Now on to the boring data. So I was asked to speak a little bit about COVID numbers, a little bit about flu, maybe dip my toe into monkeypox because that freaks everybody out, including us as physicians, but also talk a little bit about vaccinations and what's going on with that, at least with respect to the Buffalo Public Schools. So just so everyone's aware, We're currently at about 9.7% positivity from a COVID rate in the city, within Erie County. That's actually down from where we were last week, which was at 10%. So numbers are starting to downtrend. The thing that I actually wanted to make sure people knew from a pediatric standpoint, because we're looking at the kids here. Within the past week, the week just ending October 15th, we had about 59 cases that were positive between the ages of 0 and 9, and about 42 cases from 10 to 19. So we're looking at school-age children. Positivity does not mean being in the hospital. Currently over at Children's, there are only 11 children that had been admitted with COVID. Those children were not in the ICU. So that's a good sign. This does not mean we're out of the woods. As you can see, I'm still wearing my mask. Why? I'm a doctor. If I came in here without my mask, I would not be doing my job properly. Okay? Okay? I will put that out there. I'm not saying to force people to wear that, but if you're sick, if you've got a stuffy nose, your runny nose, put your mask on. Protect your friends. Just saying. Just saying. Okay? So the good news is that the Erie County numbers have remained relatively stable or starting to downtrend. That's a good sign. That means that we're trying to do something right. Okay? Now, let's see. Oh, sorry. I had a PowerPoint because whenever you presentation, as a physician, you make a PowerPoint. All right? With respect to vaccines for COVID for kids, we do have them available. Almost all pediatricians have them in stock. The county actually has them in stock. They're supposed to be getting the bivalent booster, which should be covering the new Omicron variants, for the ages of 5 up to 11 by the end of this week. That is available at the 608 William Street site for folks that actually are VFC eligible, which means you got Medicaid, you do not have insurance, or you're an indigenous population. You can go there and get that for free. Okay? Anywhere in the county, you can get a COVID shot for free. Doesn't matter your age, from 6 months to 600 years, you can get a COVID shot for free. Protect yourself, protect your friends. I will be continually saying that, get your vaccines. I will put it out there fully. As a pediatrician, I drank the Kool-Aid, vaccines work, get your shots. We can debate that at a later time. Right? With respect to flu, right now we don't, the Erie County is not reporting numbers out till the end of October. Anecdotally at Children's Hospital, we have started to begin to see some cases of flu, not for admissions just yet. We've had about 2 or 3 in the past week that we know of definitively. So if you do have a child, again, the symptoms are very similar for all your respiratory illnesses. I got a fever, I have a runny nose. I may have some more of the body aches, but that could be COVID, that could be flu. If you have a concern, talk to your primary physician, talk to your kid's pediatrician, get yourself tested, okay? We are also recommending, and this has been going on for years and years, October is usually when flu starts to increase. We had decreased numbers for the past 2 years because for 2 years we were walking around with our masks on. Why are all the kids out 2 weeks ago with runny nose and stuffy nose? We all took our masks off. Things that we remember, kids go back to school, the viruses kick back up, this is happening again. So be vigilant and be smart. If you have a question, talk to your pediatrician, get a test, okay? If you are in that category, get your flu shots. They are available now. You can go to your pediatrician, you could go to the county, you can go to Walgreens, CVS, Target, whatever store you want to. All right? Oh, sorry, moving along here a little bit quickly. I do not want to take up too much time. I know the people did have concerns about monkeypox. It freaked everybody out. It's a little bit crazy. Currently in Erie County, there are only 19 cases. That number has not changed for 2 weeks. So we're doing pretty good with that. The major concerns for that are the adult populations. We have not really seen cases in a pediatric nature in Erie County. If people are concerned, there actually is a vaccine available for it, for the more adult populations, and that is available also at the county site at 608 William. I do apologize, data gets really boring after a while. The most important thing I wanted to get people to know about is the vaccine rates within the schools. We just had our meeting this week. Currently, we're, for the kids that should be vaccinated, but we're a little bit under, we're at about 600 kids that currently are not vaccinated. This time last year, however, we were at about 850. So our vaccine rates within the schools are much improved compared to where they were last year. Okay? And we're talking, and this is with respect to vaccines that you're required to have for school. I know that for a lot of the teenagers, one of the biggest issues was the meningococcal vaccine, which is required for 7th grade and 12th grade. And the problem with that was actually a manufacturing issue. One of the main manufacturers of the vaccine halted production and was rolling out a new product. And as a result of that, we couldn't get the kids in to get vaccinated because we didn't have anything to give them. It's now back and available. Our pediatric clinics have it. It's available at the county clinic for those that need it as well. So for those of you that need to get your kids caught up, talk to your pediatrician. If you have questions, talk to people that you trust about that. I am available for questions if anyone has them.
Thank you, Dr. Archer. Any questions? Thank you so much for taking.
Yeah, I do apologize. Dr. Quo's style was a little bit more direct. I tend to be a little more freeform.
We appreciated both styles, Thank you so much, and I know that you work very closely with Dr. Brown and her team in making sure that we're all well and healthy and all of those things. We appreciate the work you do, and we look forward to our.
She has a very good team, I must say.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams. Which brings us to our comments from speakers portion of the meeting this evening. I have to look this up on my phone. At this time, the board welcomes speakers who have signed up to speak at tonight's meeting. Please be reminded that all speakers' remarks must be limited to 3 minutes or less. We ask that the speakers be mindful that this is a business meeting open to the public and televised locally. Attendees and viewers include persons from throughout Western New York, including children, many in the audience tonight. The board asks that speakers conduct themselves professionally and that their comments remain civil and courteous, bearing in mind that they will be heard by people of all ages. This is an opportunity for Buffalo's residents to address the Buffalo Board of Education about issues that serve the public interest and district mission. And the board asks that speakers demonstrate appropriate decorum. And thank you for joining us tonight. Our first speaker of the evening is President Phil Remore. Mr. Remore, you want to come down and address the board? Oh, he's going to go last? Okay, I'm sorry. Phil, sorry, you're going last now. Come on, Phil, you're already up here.
Thank you, Mr. President, Superintendent. First of all, I'd like to start off with the BTF would be honored to match dollar for dollar the awards that were given to those students today. If you'll just let us know, we'd be honored to do that. It's really impressive. I'll tell you, that's what, the kids are just amazing. They really are. That's what it's all about, folks. That's what it's all about. First of all, I'd like to also just advise you that we stand in strong support with the efforts that you are making to make our schools safe. We have distributed our questionnaire out to all of the teachers, and we've given you a copy of it. And Superintendent, I would just like to note that we appreciate that whenever we've brought things to your attention, that is something that they've been taken care of. So we can look forward to continuing to work with you to make sure that our schools are safe for the kids, parents, and everybody, and we can do that together. The next thing that I'd like to do is just to say that on the MOU, we are surveying our teachers now. We've put it out for a vote to all of our teachers, and we will have the results on Friday. If you would like, I'll send you a copy of it, but it's straightforward. This is the MOU, the copy of the letter to you, Superintendent, the MOU, and then teachers just had to vote whether they want to support the MOU, oppose signing the MOU, or have no position in it. But we will have that information for you on Friday, and we'll get it out to you as soon as we can. The last thing I'd like to do is just to address negotiations. As you know, most of the teachers were not pleased with the initial proposal that the district made. I think we made that clear, and I don't have to go into that again. What I'd like to say, though, is that we feel that there's been a better tone to negotiations since you've been sitting there, Superintendent. We are also looking forward to Tuesday. Tuesday is our next day that we're going to be negotiating, and I've advised the teachers of that. And we are hopeful that when we see an offer that will be, as all have said, will be one that is reflective of the dedication and importance of the teachers to the district. That said, we look forward to working with you on Tuesday, and that we are going to continue to try to work forward with you. And that's it. That's all I will say about that. And we hope that Tuesday will be a good day and that we don't have to take any other actions on that. But thank you again. And it's really good to hear the kids, really. And last week it was really great to hear the singing and the dancing, the performing. I mean, it's just amazing. But Once again, just let us know how we can help, and we will match dollar for dollar the amount that those kids got. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, President Ramore. For our speakers on our speakers list, our first speaker is Carolette Meadows, a concerned citizen regarding the former Kensington High School. Ms. Meadows, the floor is yours.
Hi. I just wanted to touch on a couple things. The first being Kensington. Kensington High School, when you guys came out finally with some of the lead analysis, had some of the highest lead levels of all the Buffalo public schools. I would really like for the school district and the health department to see if there's any correlation between some of the disease processes that I'm now seeing among my aging peers. It could just be a coincidence because, of course, most of my friends will be from Kensington High School, but it seems that we're dying at a much faster and younger rate than it seems from other schools. With kids still being in Kensington, which is now Olmsted, I think it behooves you to try to find out if there is some kind of a link between the lead that was in Kensington and what is going on now with our health and mortality rates. In addition, I would like to say, on the heels of Mr. Rumor saying that you guys are having an improved tone in your negotiations, that just as the BTF was threatening a vote of no confidence against the board, and the very new, pardon my verbiage here, wet behind the ear superintendent a vote of no confidence, I would like to say that all stakeholders enter a vote of no confidence against the entire district. Nobody should get any more money, including City Hall, including the teachers. Your pay should not be reflective of the suburbs until our results for our kids are reflective of the suburbs. And then lastly, I would like to touch on the Division 6 with the football. And I would like to say that if you as a board, even though some of you are not on the board at the time, if you as a board could sue Carl Palladino for attending grown folks, why aren't you suing the division for stealing opportunities from our children? If these kids from the suburbs already have economic advantages, because most of them come from middle class, affluent homes with two parents, they come from better school districts that are performing academically, and then they have the nerve to steal the opportunity to be seen by scouts from our kids, which might be their only opportunity to get an athletic scholarship. It is unfair, it is discriminatory, and it is racist. And it is up to you, as the guardians of our children, to do a better job of protecting them.
This evening. Mr. Ed Spidell, I see that he can read the speakers list. Regarding general, you're up.
So I'd like to congratulate the two new board members first and recognize our current board members for the outstanding work they do. To the parent that just spoke about Bennett High, I will tell you that multiple groups are attacking this. Parent Congress is involved, the school is involved, the alumni is involved. We will not stand for what happened to our young men at Bennett High. I have a few minor subjects. I'd like to thank the women who answer the phone every month to give us our order that we speak. They're polite, they're professional, they do a nice job. I like to recognize someone every month. I'd like to invite everybody to our next DPC meeting. It's the third Tuesday of November. If you take your phones out, you can like us on Facebook. We're Buffalo DPCC. You can get many updates of what's going on in the district through our Facebook page. I already talked about Bennett High. We had a wonderful parent congress meeting with the superintendent. And again, the tone is different. The tone is supportive. The parents are working together, and we're moving in the correct direction. I want to thank the teachers. The teachers have an endless job. They deal with our crabby students on a daily basis, and sometimes crabby parents. We want to thank you for what you do, and good luck in negotiations. to Larry. So on the transportation, in our committee meetings, we talked about helping anybody we could help with the transportation, not just the people who could have drive. We talked about helping everybody. So with our movement on this transportation, there will be some parents that you may not think should get paid to drive, but it's opening opportunities for parents students are on the bus for 55 minutes. They won't be on the bus for 55 minutes anymore. And we're freeing it up. We're trying to make a difference. If the teachers would just accept the 3 bell time, none of this will have to happen, and we'll have after-school programs. We'll have everything we need. Thank you.
Thank you, President Spidell. Next up, we have a gentleman who's spoken here before, Mr. Keith Jones, regarding accountability.
When I started doing this, she was one of the people that I looked up to, respected. She did a lot of work. We're gonna miss her. It's a big big shoes to fill. And she held everybody accountable, which is gonna be something I talk about tonight. So if I step on your toes, it's nothing personal. It's just, we have to be accountable. You can start now. Accountability. We all have to be accountable for what's going on with our children. That starts from the home all the way to the district. Lately, there's been a lot of misinformation that's being put out. Y'all know whenever I speak, it's something serious that's not, something in the milk is not white. Now, there's too much misinformation. When the Buffalo News reached out to me, I was shocked. But then I know there's a lot of things. There's too many things right now, but one of the things I want to get on right quick is the violence that's going on at McKinley. I was told by a teacher that we might know what's going on in these school buildings. It might not happen that day, but we know about it. If you know about it, you're accountable to let the parent know about it. This is what accountability is about. So when you start pointing fingers, look in the mirror. I come from the old school, like in that editorial there. My mother was one of the first parent groups called Concerned Black Parents. Only one still living now. But they was transparent. They held your feet to the ground, and they didn't take no lies. Some of y'all up there is a product of that. A lot of y'all sitting out here tonight is a product of the Concerned Black Parents. My mama's name was Letha Jones. I'm proud of that. I'm a product of her. She was more politically correct than her son, but so what? Thing down today with the transportation. During the pandemic, I was on that, but there was some incidents today with NFTA, where they're harassing the kids about the bus passes, this, that, and the other. I had a summit on this 10 years ago. So this is nothing new. You got to hold NFTA accountable. It's not them. Go to NFTA and raise your hell, like I did. You mention my name down there, they might start shaking, because I'm going to hold them accountable. This is something we was talking about 10 years ago, and to today it's still not right, and that's not wrong. Now, as far as the numbers with the suspensions, it sounds bad, but all this is in the editorial. But there was a number thrown out, said 200 suspensions, and that looks bad. But when you break it down to 67 schools, that's 3 suspensions per school. Now, if there's one school with all them suspensions, that's what we concentrate on. If you think the district isn't doing better, I just broke it down to you. Let's be transparent, and let's be accountable for our statements. There's a lot more I want to say, but I only got 3 minutes, but y'all know what I'm getting ready to tell y'all, don't you? To be continued.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. We look forward to your next speaking. Next up, we have Michael Badger, Community Leader, encouraging the BTF to sign the MOU regarding the staggered bell time.
Good evening to the board and to Dr. Williams. I want to start by saying, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here tonight versus some of the other times that I've been here. I think Dr. Williams has shown a real willingness to not only listen, but to be proactive in helping our community. We started last year talking about our children and the fact being left out in the cold. We're in Buffalo, and we're going into the cold. And my understanding is 2,000 to 3,000 children are either late or left at the bus stop because we don't have enough bus drivers. So one of the things that we talked about in the committee that I was a part of is the staggered bell time, where it would be a half hour early and a half hour late. Instead of 8 and 9, it would be 7:30, 8:30, and 9:30. My understanding is that this would solve the busing problems that cause our children to be on the bus for 2 hours every day, affects our ability to have after-school programs, our sporting programs, and it affects the kids' education. Some of our kids are getting home at 7, 8 o'clock at night. Well, thanks to Dr. Williams, who we talked to earlier this year, she put a committee together. The committee made recommendations, and we're seeing some action on that in the sense of the pairing of parents. And now we want to encourage the BTF to sign the MOU. We understand that this is going to be an inconvenience for some teachers, maybe 100, 200 teachers. But this is an educational system, and it's about children first. And I can tell you that in suburban district, they would never tolerate any of their children being left on the bus stop in the cold, in the winter. And so our children are no different. And we believe that we've got to lift our voices. I want to thank some of my Bible study that came out tonight. They're around here somewhere. But anyway, I just want to encourage the BTF, and it was good to hear from Phil tonight saying that the negotiations are going well and that they're considering the MOU, because this is about our children. And the one thing that we want to see happen is we want this district to be child-centric first. We understand adults need to get paid for what they do, but it's about educating children. And if children aren't being educated, then we're failing in what we're being paid to do. Dr. Williams, thank you so much for what you do. We're supporting you, we're with you, and I just want to mention this in closing. You know, she is one of the only districts that is willing to give the test scores out on where our children are at. And I think she needs to be applauded for that. Only New York City and Buffalo. Thank you for being the person that you are.
Thank you, Bishop Badger. Next, we have Selena Irene, a parent, regarding the Native American Resource Program. No, I don't see Miss Irene. Oh, is she coming? Oh, I'm sorry. You were in the shadows at the top of the steps. Miss Irene, the microphone is yours.
Nyawe Scano, Selena Nikiaso. My name is Selena Irene, and I am a parent, and I am the treasurer of the Native American Student Parent Committee. And I'm here to speak about the decline in funding from the Indian Education Grant. And I'm here to talk about rebuilding or building back up the Native American Resource Program at School 19, Native American Magnet School 19. Sorry. Native American resource, our Native American resource program is all over the place right now. Native American Magnet School 19 has always been the NARP hub. The Buffalo Public School District back in the 70s asked the Buffalo Native American community, where would you like to centralize your Native program? The Buffalo Native community at that time said they would like the program to be housed at Native American Magnet School 19. Currently, the most Native students still reside on the west side of Buffalo. That's where Native American Magnet School is, on West Delavan. Therefore, our Native community would still like for School 19 to continue to be the hub for the Native American Resource Program. We need to rebuild our program back up at School 19 first and foremost because the resources there are slowly being removed. My son had a problem the other day and he asked to speak with Mrs. Thompson in the NARP office and was told no one was available. I later found out that Mrs. Thompson is only at School 19 on A days and a half day on F days. So there is no full-time Native American Resource Program staff at School 19, and we have a 0.5 Native American / multilingual coordinator who works at School 4. Before the district agreed to pay for the 0.5 Native American / multilingual coordinator in the 2018-2019 school year, the last time that the district put any of their district dollars in was in 2011. So, I'm sorry, I messed up. So the flyer for the 0.5 Native American / multilingual coordinator contacted, really?
That's 15 more seconds.
Oh, wow. I want to read the numbers real quick. With the grant under the multilingual department, our numbers in the 506 count have dropped, and that equals the funding dropping. So, can I finish or no? Okay. So for the 2018-2019 school year, the 506 count was 501, and we received $237,000. That's all from the OIE, Indian Education Grant. 2019 to 2020, the 506 count was 465 students, 179,000. In 2020 to 2021, that number went from 465 to 219 students, and that was 107,000. Then for 2022 to 2021 to 2022, the count was 180 students, so that dropped to $100,000. Now for the 2022 to the 2023, the current year, the students count is 114, and the current budget is $60,000. So I was just trying to, I guess I gotta fix my speech. Don't worry, I'll be back next month. Thank you.
And Miss Irene, you can always submit things for the board to take a, if you want to submit something for us to, then you can give it to Lisa, who's the secretary at the front desk, and she'll make copies and distribute to all of us.
And I give it to you before I do, for next month, I send it to her ahead of time?
If you could talk to Lisa,
Okay.
she'll explain the process to you, but we need to get on with the meeting,
Okay,
but thank you. Next, we have Tammy Parsons, a parent, regarding Middle Early College High School and how wonderful it is.
Thank you, everybody. So my son just graduated Middle Early College in June of this last year. And I'm here tonight to say thank you to Middle Early College. For some background, my son was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at 7 years old. It is a high-functioning form of autism. And it was an early and unexpected diagnosis, but it was completely spot on. Nolan received special education services from the moment he arrived at School 72 in second grade, and they helped him tremendously. He maintained honor and merit roll grades throughout his time there, and when it was time to pick a high school, he decided he wanted to go to Middle Early College High School. He knew that students there not only go to school September through June, but they dedicate the entire month of July, Monday through Friday, for 8 hours a day in addition to the regular school year. He entered MEX as a freshman in September of 2018, and throughout his high school career, he was involved in sports and student government, but above all, he remained on the honor roll almost every single semester, even during a global pandemic that affected the lives of the entire world. My son worked hard and I was demanding, but MEX is the reason for his success. They have smaller class sizes than other traditional schools. He wasn't allowed to just slip into the background and be forgotten or skipped over. They have an amazing support team. When my son struggled socially or emotionally, the student support team of teachers, guidance counselors, social workers, assistant principals, and principals all reached out and made Nolan aware that they were there to help him. At the height of the COVID pandemic, my son shut down out of despair. His school did not let him give up. There were phone calls and video chats and even a home visit or two where staff or administrators stepped in to make sure my child did not give up. My son had the same teachers for each one of his core subjects throughout high school, and he was always pushed to do his best by those teachers. The consistency of their expectations from year to year helped my son develop better study habits. At his graduation ceremony, Nolan was selected to read the superintendent's welcome speech. Please understand that public speaking has never been one of my son's interests. I often refer to him as my gentle giant because he is so mild-mannered for his size. He is a lumbering 6'4" football lineman, and he approached the podium and he began speaking softly. He stumbled over some words almost immediately, and I could tell that he was quickly losing his confidence to continue. Without missing a beat, Principal David Potter stood up and joined Nolan at the podium. I saw him put his hand on Nolan's back and say, "You got this, buddy." I instantly saw my son's apprehension slip away, and he finished the rest of his speech beautifully. It's a moment I will never forget. The best thing about Middle Early College is that this is how they treat all of their students, not just my son. Students are counseled and mentored and tutored and nurtured in a way that I never imagined, and I will always have a special place in my heart for them. And I hope the board will always continue to support this amazing school. And I just want to finish by saying my son graduated class salutatorian, and he is currently 8 weeks away from finishing his associate's degree. So, thank you. Thank Middle Early College. They're an amazing program, and I can never, ever support them enough. So I will always be here to say thank you. And I just wanted a bright part of your night. You always hear complaints, but they're wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Next up, we have Kamal Fields, a parent regarding Better. Mr. Fields, the microphone's yours.
Blessed love, everybody. Putting students and families first to ensure high academic achievement for all, the mission statement of the Board of Education. I pledge allegiance to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So I find it hard to stand up for that Pledge of Allegiance because it is not the truth. The reality of our lives is not reflected in that Pledge of Allegiance. I want to talk about the tradition and my understanding of the school system. When I came through the school system, education was the priority, and we knew that the teachers had education as their primary goal. We had no idea how much money they made, but we knew that they were there to teach us. When I see the teachers come out at the last board meeting asking for raises, I wish I could see them come out asking for better results in the education of our children in the same way that they did. I would like to see our children be able to read, write, and do math at or above grade level. I would love to see them graduate college and career ready. I would like to see that there be a variety of means for people to make comments other than coming here once a month, waiting for our turn to come to the mic and speak for 3 minutes. The technology is such that we should be able to find some other way for people to make comments, and somebody shouldn't have to wait until they come here to find out there's another way to give information to the board. You talked about Hispanic Heritage Month. This was also Indigenous Peoples Day in this month. And we as African people are also indigenous to the Americas, North America, South America, and Central America. As a reference point, we came before Columbus by Ivan Van Sertima. We were here before Columbus got here, and we're still here now. I like to congratulate the superintendent because she is proactive, and she does listen, and she does have the heart for the students in her heart, and it shows. And thank you also, board members. God bless us all. Working together does work.
Thank you, Mr. Fields, for your comments. Next up, we have Mark Bruno, who is a parent and a teacher, regarding metal detectors in the schools and suspensions.
Good evening, Dr. Williams, distinguished members of the board and members of the Buffalo community. My name is Mark Bruno. I'm a Buffalo teacher at Riverside High School, and I'm also the parent of a beautiful little boy in kindergarten at School 81. Before I get started, I just want to address some of the comments comparing our results to the suburbs. I have 6,000 to 7,000 illegal absences just for my 5 classes every single year. That means if you average it per student, some students are coming every day, some sporadically, some you never see. That means students are missing close to 60 illegal days of school. So if we're gonna make comments like that, we should really be looking at all of the data. I cannot teach an empty seat. My colleagues cannot teach empty seats. We have to get our students to school. You know, that's huge. And you know, my students are my second family. I care about them just as much as my family, and we want them to succeed. So I wish when people make those comments, you know, we should talk about all of the data. Secondly, Dr. Williams, you are advocating for metal detectors in the schools. No one wants that, but in some schools we do need it. We are wanting students at my school, but now students are starting to bring things in their shoes. You know, so maybe trying these out at some schools would be beneficial. You know, at the end of the day, none of us want that, but we have to keep our students safe. You know, that's priority number 1. School suspensions. I know there was a big uproar in the beginning of school. Let me tell this to the public. We bend over backwards not to suspend students in the Buffalo public schools. There is a time and a place where you know, the onus has to be put on parents. The students who do the right thing every day have rights too. And we have small populations of students in our schools, you know, disrupting the learning environment for the entire school. And we have to get those students the help that they need. You know, and we have to find ways to do that. Lastly, you know, I picked my son up from school yesterday with mom, and he had a cut on his face, and he later told us that he was punched in the face at school, and a student had been bullying him. It's not the teacher. The teacher he has is wonderful. The school is wonderful. The administrative team is wonderful. But imagine picking your son up. I mean, he loved going to school there last year. We are like dragging him to school this year. And again, we're still in the process of getting to the bottom of this. This just happened yesterday. But, you know, we have to do better in providing help for our students. I'm an advocate for a state-of-the-art alternative school where students can get the help that they need, and I've talked about that a lot here. And I hope we could continue that conversation because there are students who do need help, and none of us should send our son or daughters to school and, you know, pick them up and they have marks on their face or bruises on their face. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Bruno. Next up, we have Michelle Hall, a teacher, regarding overall observations, positive and negative. Ms. Hall, the microphone's yours.
Hi, good evening, distinguished members of the board, members of the audience, and people watching in the YouTube community. My name is Michelle Hall, and I've been teaching in Buffalo for 16 years. I am also a product of this great school system. I have seen, and that's not in my speech, but I just thought I should mention it. I came from Buffalo. Dr. Williams and I have met several times, and I'm from McKinley, proudly. And so when I see what's going on at McKinley, it literally breaks my heart. And Dr. Tiggs, rest in peace, was one of the best professors, and I will call her a professor because that's what she was of English to me my sophomore year. Sorry, back to my speech that I have to be under 3 minutes. I've been teaching for 16 years, and I've attended several Board of Education meetings. However, this is my first time speaking directly to your board, so thank you, thank you, thank you for your time. I appreciate all of you for what you do, because this is not an easy job. You all have families. I get that, just like I do. I start all my lessons with this quote, and I end my nights as well before I put my head on the bed, and I say, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift, and that is why it's called the present. And we need to treat these days like gifts from God. Too many people, so much violence, so much hate, teachers leaving after Dr. Tiggs' memorial. I was the one teacher with Mr. Bruno who stayed because it meant something to me to be here for her. I am not a sheep. I do not follow a crowd. I stand up for what I believe in, whether my friends like me or not. I did not think it was right that they left. Some people did. A lot of people are going to give me some flack for this conversation right now, but I have to speak that from the heart. I stayed out of respect for her, her family, Ebony. She's here somewhere. I know what I saw her earlier. Hey, girl. I appreciate that we took a time to really address someone who made such a difference in our school. So I hope that when I die, I get one of those too. Okay. So I start all my lessons with that quote, and like I said, I've met Dr. Williams, and I really appreciate you coming out that day to speak to us all on the City Hall steps. I hope that you guys can come to a peaceful agreement soon. If we hire great teachers, but we don't create environments to retain them, we will continue to fight a losing battle. That is exactly why I transferred from my previous building of 12 years. The environment that I was in was nothing less than toxic. The students are basically running the school. However, I've heard that this year it's definitely getting better, but they've got more administrative teams, so that's great. They still do have a long way to go. Thankfully now I'm in a great place where I feel appreciated and respected for my content knowledge and my other artistic talents. The students there are respectful, responsible, and safe. There is no doubt that school-wide success comes from the top down. Great administrative teams create great school buildings. Bad administrators have to go because they are toxic to the entire environment. It spreads like a disease. Teachers have been known to work harder when they are appreciated, when they're treated with respect, especially during a confrontation. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen teachers yelled at by a principal in front of students. It's disgusting. Not at my current building. In my new building, I'm beyond happy with the teamwork, the camaraderie that I witness on all levels, all grade levels. Again, it comes down to that administrative team trusting teachers to do their jobs. My current administrators talk to the teachers like we're equals. We are not subservients because it matters. Parents, get more involved. Come to the buildings. COVID rules are down. I'm skimming through because I know my time is up. Currently, we're getting our school lives back to normal by bringing in parent volunteers. Parent engagement in my building is our #1 focus. We have so many opportunities in my building for that. Thankfully, COVID is going to keep away. Most people come here to talk about the negative aspects. I hope I got to tell you some more positive things. Grassroots gardens are available for schools to sign up. I've got 2 grassroots gardens already started in the school. I do composting. School buildings are filled with humans that make good and bad choices. We are humans. But maintain yourself, control your emotions, don't let your emotions control you, and last but not least, a good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. And if you don't think that's true, come to every single classroom before you make judgment. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry it took too long.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next, we have Jade Hill, a community member regarding the Native American Resource Program. Ms. Hill, the microphone is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Jade Hill and my Indian name is Gaindawa. I am 17 years old. I'm from the Tonawanda Seneca Nation and the Hawk Clan. I recently graduated from McKinley High School this past June. As you may have known, I've came here 3 times before today. And today I came here to ask for the board and district support in uplifting our Native American Resource Program. This program is mainly run out of School 19. Like Selena said, it's the hub for the Native American Resource Program. And I'd love to see more cultural classes throughout the whole district, not just one school, not just School 19. It would be great to see more of this in high school, because if you're going from elementary school, learning cultural classes and then going to high school and not learning anything about your culture, it just doesn't continue. It ends at 8th grade. Throughout my years at School 19, I've received cultural classes from pre-K to 8th grade almost every day. I've even supported my own school by participating in using Seneca language in the morning announcements. I like to think I play a major part in advocating for this program. I just need your help. We want more, and we need more. It's not getting the attention we need it to have, and it's falling through everyone's fingers. Because there's no attention surrounding our Indigenous community here in the Buffalo Public Schools, I feel we need more cultural events surrounding our Indigenous people, and not only in November, but all school year. I'd like you to know we're not only Indigenous in November, we're Indigenous our whole lives. A celebration of our way of life is it when you choose to celebrate it. You know?
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Hill. Next up, we have a gentleman by the name of Samuel Radford, co-chair, We the People, regarding support for the staggered bell schedule. Mr. Radford, the microphone's yours.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. First of all, let me say it's such an honor to watch students get a seat at the table and be sworn in tonight. I think we all should give y'all a big round of applause. And I just want to emphasize to you how important your role is to making the school district better than we found it. Student voice is critical, and y'all making sure that the students in this district voice is heard at this level can be a big difference maker. So I hope y'all seize that moment and take advantage of that opportunity, and know that we as parents are here to support you 100%. I also want to say that what I came here to say today, actually, I typed up, I'm not going to say it, right? I'm not going to say it because I appreciate, I said it when I wrote it, I saw that there was going to be a vote by the teachers union of no confidence against the superintendent, and I was offended by even the thought of that. And so what I was coming here to do is make sure we defended the fact that the leadership that's being provided by the superintendent is just hands down outstanding leadership, and it needs to be supported right now, not threatened, you know what I'm saying? But today, I heard the Teachers Federation say they at the table. They discussing it. They're going to put it up for a vote. That's fair. So I'm going to take it on face value and say maybe it's the new day that the superintendent is talking about, and I'm going to hold my comments, you know what I'm saying, in the mobilization we're doing to see what happens on Friday and hope for the best. Because I just want to be clear for everybody. We don't want nothing different for our children than anybody else wants for their children. We want our children to be able to have after-school programs. They can't have it if they don't have transportation. We want our children to get to school every day on time, just like everybody else's children do. We want our children to be able to have field trips, just like everybody else's children have. We want our children to not have to spend 55 minutes on the bus or have 50 or 60 kids on the bus. Those are all reasonable requests. Matter of fact, those are things we should already have. And a simple vote by the Teachers Federation can give us that. So if we get that on Friday, we can all come together and celebrate, wonderful. But if not, you know what I'm saying? But if not, I'm being real clear that with the original comments and the original mobilization, we're going right back to that, and we're going to back the superintendent and her request 100%. Let me just make this point clear about, as it relates to the American Rescue Plan Act dollars. It's very important to us to see all those dollars spent. I know that we have a process in place that we monitor that, but I just want to make sure those dollars are spent and it's related to making sure our kids' learning loss is caught up. We as parents want to be part of that process. Let me say to you, Mr. Bruno, real quickly, I think you're not looking at all the data either. Because if you go look at the data, you will see that most students show up to third grade, only about 30% of students show up to third grade who can read. By the time they get to 8th grade, it's only still 30%.
So like, by the time they get to you in high school, nobody want to go to high school every day and they can't read. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at the data about what's going on when our children between kindergarten and third grade are not being taught to read. Therefore, every year after that don't even make a difference. But to the superintendent's credit, she has established a very clear goal, making sure every child show up to third grade being able to read. We support that. We're going to be part of helping that process. And if we all get together, Mr. Bruno, we can talk about our data. This ain't about pointing fingers either way. But we ain't going to sit back passively and let you blame it on attendance when the truth of the matter is when they do attend. When they do attend, they're not getting what they need. So let's all work together to make sure that the ones that are there get what they need. And don't worry about the ones out there. We'll get them there when they need to be there. You know what I'm saying? So with that, Superintendent, keep doing what you're doing. We got your back. Board members, we appreciate you. And we want to celebrate you as well for the good work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Radford, for your comments. Next up, we have Dr. Monica Stevens, parent and concerned citizen regarding alternative transportation ideas. Ms. Stevens, microphone's yours.
Dr. Williams and the members of the board, as you look for solutions to address the ongoing bus shortage, please consider the implications on working parents and the broader community. Many of the proposals that BPS has explored are short-sighted with unintended consequences, such as last year, the 2 half-days for each school reduced instruction time, exacerbated learning gaps, and created a childcare problem for working parents. The current pilot of paying parents to transport kids to school lacks details, important details. As opposed to the suggestions in your last meeting, there is no incentive for parents to carpool, pick up neighboring children, or to employ alternative modes of transport. There is no evaluation of the impacts of an extra 1,500 cars on the road, causing traffic and congestion that makes pickup and drop-off take longer for everybody. Consider the proximity of Olmsted 64 and Tapestry Charter School. An extra roughly 300 cars on Great Arrow is going to cause so much congestion that buses initiating and completing their routes on time will struggle. Research shows that additional vehicles are additionally a deterrent to walkers and bikers as they pose problems for both safety and comfort in these mediums. Finally, the blatant inequality of this plan of paying advantaged parents to transport their children while excluding the needs of unhoused students and parents who do not have the legal right to work is especially problematic. In regards to the proposed change of bell times mid-year, well, this could be potentially beneficial. A change would need to happen over the summer so that parents have time to plan for their childcare obligations. In more than half of households, both parents have jobs. 70% of us work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Parents have already selected schools for the year. They've negotiated their work schedules, and they've identified childcare to support this. Changing this mid-year is chaotic and haphazard. Earlier start times will also likely impact the well-being as children oversleep, miss breakfast, miss the bus, and consequently miss school. So I have 3 suggestions that would help benefit the families, students, and the broader community. Foster safe alternative transportation modes. This can include walking buses, bicycling, providing unlimited transportation passes for both parents and students. Second, expand after-school programming so that every student can have a space in their school's after-school program. This can help make up pandemic losses and provide care in the gap between school schedules and work schedules. This will also free up spaces on buses that are bringing children by the busload to after-school programs at the JCC, the YMCA, at EduKids, etc. And it offers educational justice for families who cannot afford $400 a month in after-school care. And lastly, hold First Student accountable for non-performance as they have failed to service the bus routes as contracted. First Student made a staggering profit margin last year while neglecting to transport students in our district. This week, the Hamilton, Tennessee School District, which contains Chattanooga, fined First Student nearly $500,000 in damages for each route they failed to service in 2021. The busing crisis is unlikely to change if we continue to enhance First Students' profit margins at the expense of families and economic justice in Buffalo. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our last speaker of the evening is Jessica Bauer-Walker, a parent regarding the school wellness teams.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to also welcome our student board members and say that we really want to amplify youth voice. So please reach out to us as parents and community partners if there's anything that we can do to support. Also appreciate our recent graduates speaking on the need to uplift Native American issues as well. So I think, you know, we really want to be focusing not just on problems, but what's working. Student voice and amplifying it works. We need to talk more to our students and hear from our students and our young people. Our Native American colleagues and community have so much to teach us in terms of wellness and overall well-being. And so this is just not kind of a nice thing to do during Native American Heritage Month, but the teachings that are there in terms of sustainability, how we build healthy relationships, is really important. So that comes to this framework of school wellness teams. I want to thank Dr. Williams for her support on health and safety. We're having a really positive experience as parents and community partners with making progress, having shared language and beliefs, and moving forward in a holistic way. So I know we have some board members and folks that have worked with us on a district leadership level that have had experience with building level school wellness teams and the wellness policy. Board of Education, we really need your support with implementation of the wellness policy. School wellness teams, we have to break down these silos here. So this is a preventative, holistic, collaborative model. Students really have a voice. We're asking our student community health workers and parent community health workers to find out, do you have a wellness team at your school? Get on it. Make your voice heard. This is a tangible way where students in particular, as well as parents and caregivers, community partners, can get involved and come up with real quick solutions. The administrator should be there. There should be SST members, a nurse, a building engineer. This is a vehicle that we can all come together and come up with solutions very quickly. We know something like suspensions does not work. We can keep debating on the numbers. The reality is this doesn't work. It doesn't work to shift behavior. It doesn't work to improve attendance or academic outcomes. Let's stop doing it and come up with an alternative. We need to move upstream. There's things that are happening that we need to correct. Suspension doesn't correct anything. You're putting students and parents in a very bad, dangerous situation when you pull them out because there's a dangerous behavior going on and send them home. Parents are missing work. Students are not getting the help that they need. Let's stop doing it and come up with an alternative. I'm not saying let the kids just do whatever they want to do if they're doing something that's inappropriate or disruptive. Let's stop trying to defend this as a practice that we use and come up with alternatives. We're here to help. The school wellness teams can be part of the solution. I'm excited to announce that the Community Health Worker Network just got a $3 million grant from HRSA, where we'll be able to partner with Buffalo Public Schools, scale up our parent and student community health worker program, and I want to thank Dr. Williams in the district for providing a letter of support. And we're one of the communities throughout the country where we have $3 million to work with to expand a program that we can use parents and students to be part of the solution. So again, looking for everybody to come together, come up with solutions, looking at what works, and let's have a holistic preventative framework for health and safety moving forward in this school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer-Walker. Dr. Williams, do you have any responses to the speakers tonight?
I do. First, I want to thank everyone for taking their time on this evening. I know that the weather outside is challenging, and I appreciate everyone that came forward to speak. I think it shows the commitment that we all have to making sure that our children get everything they need. So I'll start with President Remore, and I appreciate that he did share with me prior to distributing the school safety surveys or questionnaires that will be going out. I'm looking forward to seeing the results. We are all at the table, myself and Chief Council Member Kuzma and Chief Holly McGee, and we meet with BTF representation, and the meetings have been very collegial and respectful, and I'm very appreciative and optimistic about that. And I really appreciate that he offered to match the dollar for dollar. So I know that Dr. Morrell will be reaching out to President Remore to make sure that we get that dollar for dollar for the students that won the contest. Next, Miss Meadows, who went to Kensington High School, which is now Olmsted, shared some very heartfelt concerns about the levels of lead, and we appreciate that, and we will look into some of her concerns. I will ask Dr. Brown to reach out to her to talk a little more about what her concerns are, and perhaps work with Miss Yvette Gordon to see if there's any substantiation to the concerns that she shared. She also shared some pieces that she felt about teachers getting pay raises and suing Section 6. And so, you know, I am a collaborator, and so I choose to not necessarily point fingers at what people do or don't deserve, but I say I invite Ms. Meadows to the table to sit and have a conversation with us. There's a lot of work that's happening with Parent Congress. We have 6 parent groups, and we certainly invite her to be a part of one of those groups, and we meet every single month. Every month we meet, and so her voice would be welcome. You know, we want to hear what she's saying, but we do know that our teachers do work very hard. They work very hard, and we appreciate the work that they do. President Spidell, I always appreciate your honesty. You know, I know one thing about you, and that is that you are honest, and that, you know, if you agree with things, then you let me know that you agree. And when you see concerns with issues, then you certainly are very honest in sharing that. And so I certainly appreciate the supportive tone that you share. You're at, you know, all of our Parent Congress meetings. I call, and you know, you come whenever I ask for support on different things. I know it's not always convenient, and you know, I really like that this evening you chose to recognize a group of staff that sometimes can almost seem invisible, you know, and I know that all of our clerical staff appreciate you recognizing the work that they do, because in many cases they're the front line face of school buildings and offices, and they can make or break if people feel welcomed or not. So certainly I think that that is awesome that you did that. Thank you for doing that. Mr. Jones, always good to hear from Mr. Jones, and you know, I heard him say that he wanted to give Dr. Harris Tig her flowers, and she certainly is deserving of that. And you shared that, you know, she wore big shoes, and that is absolutely correct. And she's got a daughter that is here, Ebony Bullock, who is walking in those shoes. She is very much her mother's daughter. And so I certainly appreciate Mr. Jones saying that, and I know that it means a lot to Chief Bullock to hear that also. So Mr. Jones spoke a little bit about suspensions. I appreciate him setting the record straight and being very candid in saying that, you know, we're not where we want to be, but things are improving. It doesn't happen overnight. Things are improving, and I appreciate that he recognized that. Bishop Badger, appreciate you very much and bringing your Bible study members tonight to our board meeting. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You know, again, we have been working arm in arm, you know, very closely on lots of issues, and you were an integral part of the Transportation Committee, and you came with an open mind, and, you know, you were able to share great feedback, I think, in helping to guide that committee, and we appreciate and are looking forward to our continued work. Thank you very much. Miss Irene, the Native American program, I can tell that you're very passionate about making sure that that program gets back to where it was and even better than where it was. And, you know, I just want to let you know that we have Chief Botticelli, who is totally committed. She's been meeting, I think, over this last week or two. She's met a few times with the committee. And what she shared with me is that there is now a full-time coordinator that we're funding, and there is a new cultural resource specialist position that we're funding. There are plans to put the Native American program staff back to School 19. So that is something that's in the works. We are taking steps toward making that program even better. Ms. Parsons, is something very special about hearing a parent's perspective on a school, because we know that your children are your most treasured gems. And when it comes to your children, most parents, even the mildest parent, will tell the truth and let us know if things are not working well. And so to hear you share how appreciative you are about what's happening at Middle Early College. It began with Sue Doyle, and it has continued with Mr. Potter, means a lot. And I know that our board and our staff probably are very appreciative for what you shared this evening, and I do hope that the staff at Middle Early College heard some of your comments this evening. Very appreciative, and I'm very proud of your son and all that your son has accomplished, and I know will continue to accomplish with your advocacy. Mr. Fields, always good to hear from Mr. Fields. He keeps it on the forefront that we have a mission statement, and the mission statement is what guides everything that happens in our district. And we all agree that we want every single one of our children to be able to read, to write, and to do mathematics proficiently. We want them to all graduate college and career ready. And so again, I invite Mr. Fields to please join up with one of our parent groups. We meet every month, and let's work together on ways that we can make sure that that's happening. And I agree that Indigenous Day was this month, and we certainly want to lift that up and celebrate that also. Mr. Bruno, always good to hear from you. I am so sorry to hear, though, what you shared today that your son experienced. You're absolutely right in saying that no parent ever wants to pick up their child from school any different than the way that they went to school. And so I'm very sorry to hear that your child has experienced some difficulties this year. And so what I'm going to do is to ask Dr. Brown to please reach out to you and to see how we can try to support a restorative conference. You know, we met this week, the Parent Congress and I, and one parent shared that his son had experienced some similar things, and he was adamant that he did not want the student suspended. That was President Spidell. He didn't want the student suspended. Rather, what he wanted was an opportunity for the parents to meet, to get on the same page, to have restorative conversations, and guess what? Now the young men are friends. And so that's, you know, that's the way that we want to work things out. So I'm going to ask Dr. Brown to please reach out to Mr. Bruno to see how we can support having some of that happen. Ms. Hall, I love your quotes. My goodness, I couldn't write fast enough to get all that you shared, but your quotes exemplify your love for teaching. And I agree when you say that we must create learning environments that retain the excellent teachers that we need to have in all of our classrooms so that we meet all of our goals and all of our students have the opportunity to be successful. And I'm very happy that this year you have landed in a school where you share, you feel respected, and that the school is child-centered. That's a win-win. Ms. Hill, recent graduate from McKinley High School. I think that is just awesome, and you know, it tells me that something went well at McKinley High School to have a young person like yourself coming before a board of education and having the courage to speak up and to advocate for what it is you would like to see tells me that there were some good things that happened there. I'm going to ask Dr. Morrell to reach out to you and to see how we can talk a little more, because what I heard you say is that we have a program that goes from K through 8, but then students get into the high school level, and you want to see that to continue to grow. And so it's something that we can have conversation at least about. So I would ask Dr. Morrell to reach out to Ms. Hill. Always good to hear from Mr. Radford. We're working very, very close together. And what he said tonight is very true in that student voice can change policy. It's very powerful, and you are in a district where your voice matters. It's one of 5 goals. We could have come up with 100. We came up with just 5, and out of those 5, you all, the voice that you have, landed as one of those very important goals. And so I encourage you in your role on this board to advocate and share your thoughts. Your voice matters. And I want to thank Mr. Radford for sharing that. We will continue to work together. And yes, we do have a goal that we want all of our 3rd graders leaving 3rd grade reading proficiently. Reading proficiently, that's what we want to see. And so the art dollars, we're working hard to manage that. We want to make sure that learning loss is certainly one of the premium things that we are spending those dollars on. I meet with Mr. Barnes, it seems every day almost, because we want to make sure that that's exactly what we're doing, and that those dollars are being spent in ways that will equitably support all of our students getting what they need. Dr. Stevens, let's see here. You had quite a few recommendations that were viable recommendations. You talked about the carpooling piece, and that as we have shared it thus far, that the reimbursement plan lacks some level of detail. And I'm not sure if you were here when Dr. Reynolds came up, but she shared that, you know, we certainly are not at the end of where we need to be before we make some decisions. And so I think as we continue to clean the data and scrub the data and start looking at, as Board Member Scott asked, which zip codes, you know, who will it impact? Will it have an impact? You know, then we'll get closer and closer to being able to offer some of the details and those kinds of things to see what kind of impact the reimbursement piece can make. You mentioned the ELT program. We do have seats in ELT for all of our children. The problem is having enough buses to transport them. So we do have seats in ELT. We started our after-school program this year. We're very proud. Chief Botticelli worked extremely hard to make sure that we offered our after-school program earlier in the year. Last year, I think we didn't get to start until maybe March, April. This year, we started early, and so she's worked very hard to make sure that we have that piece. But certainly, we do have to get to a place where we address the busing crisis, about some of the pieces that you shared. And so next week, I'll be reaching out to you so that we can sit down and have a conversation. And finally, Ms. Bauer-Walker, always good to hear from you. You have been kind of a sounding board. You know, we meet and we have very honest dialogue. And sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't. And it's healthy and it's okay. But one thing I can say is that you are always uplifting our students, and that I truly do appreciate. The wellness policy is very important, and what we know is that wellness teams that are working effectively in schools can be very, very powerful. We don't want to suspend students. We want students to be in school, and I think that the wellness team piece is a piece that can help to support some of that happening. We're looking forward to that $3 million helping, you know, support the work in the Buffalo Public Schools and our students. And so I just want to thank everyone that took the time this evening to come up and to advocate and to speak on behalf of our children, because if there's a common thread in most of what I heard tonight, it was student-centered. It was about doing what everyone feels is right for our children. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams. I just want to take an opportunity now to correct according to the speakers list, I referred to Dr. Monica Stevens by the wrong title. I apologize. That was an oversight on my behalf. A lot of time, effort, and hard work went into that doctorate degree, so I want to make sure that I recognize it properly. But we always try to be respectful of how people wish to be addressed here. That being said, mea culpa, we will move on to our action on the minutes from the previous meetings. Can I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from both the September 21st and the September 26th meetings? Movement by Ms. McCosy, seconded by Hope J. Any discussion on the minutes? No? Not hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? I believe we have a unanimous, the minutes are approved. Committee reports. Before our board members go, would you guys like to say anything? Because now is when you have the opportunity to say something. You don't have to, but I would like to provide you the opportunity. I know that you have school tomorrow, so we'll try and get you out of here relatively quickly. So if you want to identify yourself, say a little something and what you hope to accomplish, and then
my name is Graydon Hilmy. I'm a senior at Da Vinci High School, and I think this is a great opportunity. I've met many board members here. I know Mrs. Bacozzi, and I met Mrs. Williams, and I'm going to be speaking with a lot of students at my school about how they feel about these issues and come to these meetings with an open mind to decide on these.
My name is Lucy Fuentes. I'm from the same school, Leonardo da Vinci. I'm also a senior. I do feel a little underprepared for this meeting, but the things that were brought here today, of course, are things that me and Graydon will bring to our school. And like Graydon said, I do know a few faces on the board. I got to speak to you at a banquet, and it was really nice. The opportunity is here. We definitely won't let pass by us, and we're looking forward to a great year with you guys. So, thank you.
well done for your first committee report. Thank you very much, and study hard. Going on the left side of the table and coming around, I'm going to start with Ms. McCosy. Ms. McCosy, do you have any committee reports?
Okay, I have some things here. I want to keep this brief, but I do want to note that I attended, with the urging of Board Member Hurd, Youth Mental Health First Aid Training. This was October 11th. I attended that with Kathy Evans-Brown, Paulette Woods, Terrence Hurd, and will be certified for 3 years in order to be able to identify warning signs of adolescents who might be going through trauma. So being able to be that connector before, any other alternative, supports come into play, being able to alert folks was very important to me. So I really enjoyed that class, and I appreciated the opportunity. That same evening, I also attended the Native American Parent Group meeting with Board Member Hurd, and I do want to stress everything that was brought to the table was very much so, front and center. And I believe that when we look at those numbers, we look at how the grant itself has been handled or what's happened in the past. Like, I'm really looking forward to making sure that the grant is what funds these positions, so that if we're funding them, they're not, positions that we can put in, folks can be in different spaces and places. That grant funding means that person is in that building, not just on A and half F days. That was concerning to me. And also, I've been working with these folks for quite a while, and some of these numbers being as staggering as they are, just looking into those 506, forms and how they're being filled out. And if we have a Native American school, which I attended in my kindergarten years, I attended 4th grade there, and it wasn't named that at the time. So for it to be that hub and that center and have that, we're not doing it justice by murals on the wall. We need to make sure it definitely has what it needs and make sure these folks are heard. I attended the BPTO meeting. They were revising their educational platform. Their main focus is transportation. That's where Keith Jones comes into play. he's serious about what he's doing, suspensions, and, really looking to end the school-to-prison pipeline with us. And Dr. Monica Stevens was there, so we talked a little bit about the transportation issue as well. I also attended the Hispanic Women League's brunch, where every year they offer scholarships to young ladies who really exemplify in not just education, but in their community work and their service. And I did not know them personally, but the bios that were given were amazing. Buffalo Public School students. This is a long history and tradition with them, and I'm honored to be a member of that group. And lastly, with Board Member Petrucci, last night I attended the 151st Jesse Ketchum Awards, where our superintendent was the keynote speaker and did a wonderful job. And Dr. Fatima Morel really, led this entire night of recognizing the students, these 35 or 34 students who all received awards in this long-standing tradition. Just the fact that the diversity amongst these students was incredible. There were performances by IPREP sang the national anthem, McKinley did the color guard, there was a ballet performance from Performing Arts, it was just an incredible night, and I really appreciated it. But I just wanted to make sure that that was said.
So the Executive Affairs Committee met on October 5th, and we went over our superintendent's goals and template, and I think it was a very productive, strong meeting. A lot of you have referenced some of these pieces of it, and I'm looking forward to a really strong year.
Mr. Scott?
The Educational Support Committee met last Wednesday, October 12th, and we had a presentation from Buffalo Prep. And for those that don't know what Buffalo Prep is, it's an after-school evening and summer academic enrichment program located on the UB South Campus. All Buffalo Prep students come from backgrounds of color. It is designed to prepare underrepresented youth for competitive admissions at high schools and college. 100% of Buffalo Prep scholars are accepted to college. They serve 650 students, and the BPS, Buffalo Public Schools, has partnered with them in the past. We currently have a policy that was approved by this board last year to address disproportionality at some of our criterion-based schools. And on the agenda tonight is an amendment to that policy to include an enhanced partnership with Buffalo Prep. And what is being proposed is that the district will start by identifying any school which is experiencing severe disproportionality in admissions by race or ethnicity. In such schools where there is this severe disproportionality in admissions, the district will reserve a limited number of seats in certain grades for Buffalo Prep candidates. Buffalo Prep will choose candidates based on a combination of school performance, Buffalo Prep performance, admission test results, if applicable, and student and caregiver interest in attending the school. And then also on that day, earlier that day, I attended the Alberti Conference, which is the bullying prevention organization out of the University of Buffalo. And there was a wonderful presentation on resilience, and especially in particular relating to our students of color. And in the afternoon, we had a great panel of speakers that included our very own Dr. Williams, as well as our former Chief of Staff, Dr. Brown Hall, and Chief of Diversity here in the city of Buffalo. And it was very well received. I've been to this conference annually for several years, and this was by far one of the best that I've attended. And then lastly, on a personal note, Saturday I attended the iPrep Saturday Academy And wow, another gem in Buffalo Public Schools. It was a phenomenal visit. What stuck out for me was the Good Deed Grocery, which has a large donation of multiple kind of foods, clothing, diapers. There's a partnership with Rich Products, who is helping to provide the resources, the food resources in this Good Deed Grocery. The teacher that leads it was there, Rachel Kent, and she also runs our Urban Teachers Academy. It was wonderful chatting with her. I also had a wonderful conversation with another iPrep teacher and social worker who are working the print shop there and making Halloween bags for students. And just last, a shout out to the BPS, the Say Yes navigator, Anna Leon Rodriguez, who gave me a wonderful tour of the building and all the events that were taking place that Saturday. Just very last thing, I talked about this, I think in our work session, when Dr. Williams and staff courageously shared the state assessment data, and I had an editorial in the paper this past Sunday and mentioned how data can be used as a weapon, and it came up again tonight, and we heard a statistic or a percentage that was thrown out there from, again, the 2019 state assessments, indicating that 30% of our students are reading on grade level. And I just want to put that in context, as I did last week. For our charter schools, it's about the same. It's a little bit higher, 32%. For all of Erie County, 39%. And we in Buffalo Public Schools educate far more students with disabilities and English language learners. So we have to be careful when we start throwing numbers out without context. And that concludes my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Member Scott, which brings us to myself. So it's been a busy week, or busy month, I should say. I attended the Hispanic Heritage Council, where I was recognized with a nice paperweight. Thank you very much. It's on my desk right now at work. On the October 6th, I went both to the pre-K zoo event, which if any of you have had the opportunity to attend will know how wonderful it is, and if you haven't, I strongly encourage that you do so in the future. It was also the Erie County Associations of School Board Student Leadership Dinner, where I met Ms. Fuentes. She was at the table with us. We had some very nice discussions. It was a great event. On the 17th, I did the New York State School Board's Resolutions Committee, which was 6 hours, which made these meetings pale by comparison. There were many robust conversations about a variety of issues, from masking to single-family zoning to the ability of local departments of health to impose their will upon school districts. It started off really nice, and then it got a little funky towards the end there. But it's all good work. We'll all have the opportunity, those that are voting members at the New York State School Boards Association Conference. One of the things that our resolution regarding charter schools and trying to limit their impact on the district did pass overwhelmingly, so that was good to see as well. Visited 33, where I missed our new principal there, but also visited 27. Jen and I went to the Jesse Ketchum Award, and I was proud to be there last night. It's one of the great things the district does, but more so, I was proud to see so many kids stay within the Buffalo Public Schools. And for me in particular, when myself and Ms. Belton-Cotman drafted the resolution about giving children their choice, it was good to see, and I believe there were 6 kids from the 31 students that were at City Honors or attended City Honors. And that's a huge difference from where we would have years where we had none. So I believe the legislation was impactful. These are the students we want to keep in the BPS. And thank them for all their hard work. I also did the Career Advisory Network last night, which was great. It was nice to have Mr. Harris working with various members of the business community, showcasing the various programs that the district has and how those students align with future employment or with their business goals. South Park High School had their health fair this weekend. And I was on the BPS Farm to School meeting, again, where they were discussing how to use more local produce to prepare meals that are more culturally responsible, that are more reflective of our students' wants and desires, particularly with a lot of our new American population. So that was really good to hear as well. And that concludes my comments and the committee reports. Before we go on to the consent agenda, I'm asking to have a motion to officially excuse the following board members: Terrence Hurd, Dr. Kathy Evans-Brown, Paulette Woods, and Sharon Belton-Cotman. Can I have a motion? So moved by Hope J, second by Jen McCosey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing now, they are officially excused. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda? So moved by Mr. Larry Scott, second by Ann Rivera. As I go through our exceptions list, there isn't a whole lot tonight. I believe, Mr. Scott, you had one on, bear with me, number, what is it, 19H, concealed weapons and detection systems.
Yes, I submitted a few questions this afternoon late, and thankfully, thanks to the staff, I received multiple responses, and I just wanted to make it public what we're voting on tonight, and that is a contract to install the concealed weapons, walk-through weapon detectors, I believe in all of our school buildings. So I know there was a speaker that mentioned it tonight, so that is on the agenda. And I just, the one other thing I wanted to point out is it's with a company that's local, and it's a minority-owned, woman-owned business as well. So it's a large contract. It's obviously a high priority to make sure we're keeping dangerous weapons out of our schools. I just wanted to make that public, that we are voting on that tonight. But the other thing I also wanted to, the question has been asked, when the installation, when these will be operational. I was reported in the questions that I had today that work potentially could begin in November and they could be up and running in December. And that's accurate? Okay.
That's correct.
So for those that had that question, there's your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Under 23A, I see that Ms. McCosey, I just want to make sure that your questions have been answered regarding the NFT summer athletic bus passes. All right, thank you very much. All right, that concludes our exceptions. That being, all minds being settled, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Yes, if you could please conduct a roll call vote there, Mr. Kuzma, it would be greatly appreciated.
No problem, Board President Petrucci. How do you vote on the consent agenda, Ms. J? Ms. McCosey? Dr. Rivera?
No exceptions.
Mr. Scott?
No exceptions.
And Board President Petrucci?
No exceptions.
Okay, the perfect number of votes required to pass the consent agenda was obtained with the noting the excused members, Ms. Belton-Cotman, Dr. Evans-Brown, Mr. Hurd, and Ms. Woods. Consent agenda passes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuzma. We have two items of business before we adjourn still tonight. So I would like, under unfinished business, I'd like to make a motion. May I have a motion authorizing the General Counsel to file a complaint with the New York State Division of Human Rights against the New York State Public High School Athletic Association in Section 6 for its discriminatory and disparate decisions and actions against student athletes of color, and the Board of Education for its discriminatory and disparate practices and procedures that intentionally prohibit people of color and the board from participating in the decision-making and policy-making processes.
So moved.
By Mr. Scott. Do I have a second? I have a second by Hope Che. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not hearing any discussion, can we have a roll call vote, Mr. Kuzma?
How do you vote on the motion? Ms. J? Ms. McCosy? Dr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
And Board President Petrucci?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzma. At this point, I'd like everyone to rise for a moment so we could have a moment of silence to recognize those who have passed since the last board meeting. So our bereavements for October 19th, 2022. On August 27th, Karen Riles Robinson, a bus aide. On September 4th, Ishmael Cooperning, Sr., beloved cousin of Tammy Holly McGee, Chief of Human Resources. On September 15th, David Baxter, father of Pamela Baxter, a special education teacher at School 84, father-in-law of Vicki Baxter, a special education at School 64, brother of Calvin Baxter, a retired administrator in the BPS, and his wife, retired BPS teacher Brenda Baxter. On September 19th, Bruce B. Wilson II, IT Help Desk Specialist, godson of Tracy Brown, Administrative Secretary at the Adult Learning Center. September 24th, Jean Ladinsky, mother of Greg Ladinsky, principal at Leonardo da Vinci High School number 212. September 2022, Tom Murray, father-in-law Octavia Kapumu Murray, a teacher assistant at Houghton Academy School number 69. October 7th, Timothy Leonard, husband of Christine Burgess Leonard, a research aide in the Grants Department. October 16th, Tyrone Hurd, father of at-large Board of Education member Terrence Hurd. October 2022, Christine Vivian Alexander, aunt of the superintendent. October of 2022, Andrea Correa, cousin of Dr. Ramona Reynolds. May we have a moment of silence. Thank you for your remembrance. Please be seated. At this point, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. What do you have here, Nate?
The meeting has now ended.
You guys are still good. That was.
Taking charge there. So we have one more motion. I apologize for the delay. So I have a motion. One of our board members has an opportunity to attend an educational conference regarding WASED. They have asked for approval for the conferences in the first week in October, that the travel and the amounts to attend the conference would be less than or not to exceed $3,000 in total. Yes, it's got to be first week in November. It can't be first week in. Thank you, Mr. Kuzma. First week in November, I stand corrected. Let the record show it's first week in November of 2022. So first of all, I need a motion to approve for Ms. Kottman to travel. And then second, I believe Dr. Williams wanted to make a comment about it. Does anyone want to make the motion? not to exceed $3,000. Yes. Moved by Jen McCosey. Second? Okay. I will second the motion for discussion purposes. So we have a motion on the floor. Dr. Williams, would you like to make a comment?
The district is partnering with WASED to implement a real innovative STEM project. The conference will be held in Phoenix. The fees will include registration, airfare, and hotel accommodations. There will be 3 district staff that will also be attending the conference. We will be the first large urban school district that will be partnering with WASED so that our students from grades K all the way up through grade 12 will be able to receive the benefits of what this partnership is going to offer. There will be approximately 12 to 14 school districts that will be in attendance at the conference.
Thank you very much. And for a point of clarification, Mr. Kuzma, this $3,000 amount is for all 5 members to attend?
No, it's just for one board member that will be going.
Okay.
The other expenses are already.
If you could please approach the mic, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, the expenses are only for the board member. You know, as the board typically votes on travel expenses for conferences for those members that wish to attend. The district staff is attending. That's already in the budget and has worked its way through.
And before you leave, and this is part of the annual expenditures that board members get to attend for conferences.
That is correct.
All right, thank you very much. So, yes, Ms. McCosey.
I just want to be sure that when this happens, because it is such a big deal, because we are attending, that we do present something to the public as to what we did, why we did it. I need the microphone beside this.
Here you go.
We had made, I don't know if it was a resolution or a pact or whatever, but anytime that we attend anything, it's why we do our committee reports. It sometimes seems lengthy, but I believe that this would deserve more than just a report back from the particular board member, that the district also reports back, as it is such a huge, you know, endeavor, and we're traveling across the country and are recognized as a large urban district. So I look forward to sharing that with the public and also receiving that information.
Dr. Rivera?
I'd like to second that, and I would respectfully suggest that that be part of a work session.
Okay, agreed. Any other comments? Mr. Scott?
Yeah, I think I made, well, let me just go back to the summer where I commended you, President Petrucci, for actually having resolutions before we voted on spending money on us attending particular events. And this has come up multiple times where I feel like we're just kind of adding this on at the end. There was nothing that was in our agenda for the public to see. It's a cost. I think I actually mistakenly and regretfully motioned similarly for a much smaller allotment to fund something, and it was voted down, and after reflecting on it, it should have been. And so I'm uncomfortable the way this is being brought to us, and it wasn't brought to the board as a whole for us to all consider others going. So it's unsettling to me how this is happening.
Ms. McCosey, would you like to? Okay, just want to make sure. Are there any other comments? Okay. So there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor, I'll just have them raise their hands, Nate. That's fine. All those in favor of the motion signify by raising your hands. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All those opposed? And abstentions? Okay.
I vote yes with lots of reservation. we need to avoid doing this in the future. It shouldn't even be, we shouldn't even be put in this opportunity to be making this vote right now. Tomorrow, if the process was followed and we came back here tomorrow, I could easily vote yes without reservation, but the process that we're doing this is very unsettling.
So can I'm sorry, I know discussion's closed, but Mr. Scott brings up something very important, which is this is a procedure for the board that we need to follow. And we need to talk about this and open this up in terms of criteria and how we spend this money and how we inform each other. So I would like to volunteer that this be a topic of our next executive affairs work session.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. I think it warrants further discussion. All right. How about a motion to adjourn? Any other surprise motions? No. We're good? Okay.